Hey guys, it's Harvey here with WTHamiplaying.com, and today I'm going to be playing a little bit of Wakfu and sort of just catching you guys up on what I've been doing for the last week and a half or so. I know I haven't been making posts on the site, and I've been really busy, and I just haven't really had anything to post, so I thought I'd sort of go through some stuff with Wakfu and sort of show you what I've been up to, and I guess that's going to be it. So, first off, Wakfu is sort of a 2.5D hand-painted MMO, and it's got a tactical or SRPG style combat, similar to Final Fantasy Tactics or Tactics Ogre, and it's also got a sort of Eve-like player-driven world in which things like government and the ecosystem and all of that are all affected by player actions, and I think that's really interesting, so sort of go through all of that. But I wanted to start with going over combat, since I know that's the first thing a lot of people think about, especially when it comes to a game that works like this. Now, I don't know if anybody has ever played Doofus or not, but that is a game that is essentially the same world with the same classes and the same combat system as this game is. However, it's not the same kind of player-driven ecosystem government type thing that you have in Wakfu. But anybody who's played Doofus will find a lot of Wakfu familiar. Essentially, I'm playing a Sedita, and I'm sort of like a plant-loving druid, and I plant little doll seeds like this, and then when I hit them with a spell, they turn into a little plant doll. In this case, these guys are water, and they will help me beat up the bad guys. And something that's interesting about this game is that the bad guys and you both have a lock stat and a dodge stat. And when you try to move away from being like an adjacent tile with them, you have a chance to become locked. It compares the two stats and gives you a percentage. You can see I have a 60 or an 86% chance to dodge walking away from him. And yes, I did get away. If they do lock you, it just prevents you from moving, and it can get you stuck with your back to them, which is never a good thing. I'll give it another try to see if I can get locked. Oh, no luck for that, but we'll let my dolls finish him off now. So that was just a really quick look at the combat. It's simple, it's really effective, and it gets to be quite a lot of fun strategically when you have, 3-4 people working with you, and you can sort of work with each other, get in each other's way. It's very dynamic. It's a lot of fun when you're on Vent, and I hope that hopefully later in this week I will be able to throw up a video of me and a few of my friends playing, and you'll get to hear us being loud, rude, crude, and etc. on Vent, which should be thrilling for all. So that's the combat, and I won't go into it too in depth because it's just not the same with one person as it is with more. So the next thing I want to do is sort of go over the ecosystem. And as you can see, I'm standing in a field with lots and lots of wheat growing. Now, there's a lot of aspects of the ecosystem besides just planting, replanting, and cutting down. The first and foremost is on every map, and as you can see, this is a map, and then there's lots more over here. This is the whole nation that I'm a part of, and then there's a whole another nation that I'm not a part of. Anyway, for each of the maps within the nation, when you press W, you get an idea of how much of each type of monster and resource there should be. There's a minimum, a maximum, and it tells you where you are amongst that. In this case, wheat is just above the minimum. So if I were to chop it down a lot, it would start to go extinct very slowly, of course. But once it goes below a certain point, I will start losing reputation with my nation for destroying crops that are in danger. Likewise, if I start planting while it's below, I will gain reputation with my nation. If I start planting while it's above this line here, then I will lose it. It's very simple. It's just about keeping everything in check. And the way it works is you just walk over to a piece of wheat, or a wheat square, and I can harvest the wheat grain from it, which is what I can then use to replant later. And as you can see, the sprite actually changes and gets a little bit smaller. And then I can also harvest the wheat, and I could just skip the wheat grain part, go right to cutting it down, and not worry about replanting. But as you can see, as I cut that down, I got a little purple glow around me. That is because every time you destroy something, you go a little bit towards what is called stasis, or people that destroy things. And every time you plant something, you go a little bit towards Wakfu, or people that plant and create. And those things affect, you need certain stasis or Wakfu to equip some gear. There may be other benefits or penalties later on, but as you can see, I get that little glow every time I plant something. And you can, if you want to, you can sort of queue up multiple plant things. I'm not gonna do all of that, but just to show you that you can sort of just plant a whole bunch. And now these are little babies, and I can't cut them down. I can't get wheat grain from them yet. All I can do is trample them, which is only good if I'm trying to be a stasis, because that'll just give me points for that. So in a little bit, those will grow first to a state where you can cut them but not harvest wheat grain, and then finally they'll fully mature, and you can cut the wheat grain as well and plant more from it. So you can take this field, and you could go over to one of these ones that doesn't have many, or one that doesn't even have any, and you could start planting there, and then you could eventually fill that up. And as long as you're not messing with the ecosystem too bad, you know, you can always gain from that. But it is not just limited to plants. As you can see, there is a corpse of a chicken that somebody had killed, a tofurby, and it is just sitting here. And what I can do is I can actually walk over to it and use my trapping profession to gather some materials from it. This is sort of like skinning in some games, except it's a collection of not just skinning, but it's also collects meat, and while the target is alive, you can use it to collect things like feathers, which is what I'm doing now. And then you can also collect seeds from living creatures and use that to create more of the creatures, which I will show you now as soon as that finishes. This is my very full inventory. As you can see, I just got a tofu seed, and I can now a 90% success rate, which will hopefully succeed, and to tofu. It did, okay. So this pile of dust and feathers will, in a few minutes or a minute or so, mature into a bird. And it can actually, it doesn't necessarily have to be a single bird, it can form an entire group, and there are multiple pulls in this game where you don't fight a single mob at a time. You often fight, you know, 2, 3, 4 mobs at a time, and that helps keep the combat interesting, because one-on-one gets a little boring. But 4-on-4 is a lot more interesting. 4-on-7 or 8 is even more interesting. And it really, it affects how much strategy you need to put into fighting. So I find that really interesting. And while I'm waiting for this to grow to show you what it looks like, I'll go over the climate real quick. And that is this. And as you can see, I have the weather for today, as well as what the weather is going to look like for the rest of the week. And each plant grows best in certain conditions. As you can see, wheat is -5 to 35 degrees, which we are going to be in all week, and that's just its optimal growth speed. But if it gets too cold or too hot, it slows down. And that's really how that works. Some things I think you have a better chance to successfully plant while it's raining. And I'm not sure about other things to do with that, because I haven't really gotten into weather all that much. But for the most part, it doesn't affect you a ton. You just have to be wary of it getting really hot or really cold. Further, we have a player-driven government, which is something that I've seen in a few games and to varying successes. This is our current governor, and he was voted there. And when you become governor, you can mess with the laws of the land, which are these, and In this case, you gain reputation with your country by killing outlaws who've broken laws, maintaining resources, donating to the nation, and conquering or defending territory. And you lose reputation for messing with the ecosystem, killing people, attacking a member of the government, and destroying protected species, which are, when you get really low, you can actually make a species extinct, and the only way you can get it back is if you have a seed for it, or if the government reintroduces it. So, as you can see now, that actually hatched into 2 birds, and they're in one group, and what I'll do is I'll fight them for you before we finish this video off. So, these 2 birds, they're both ranged, and they like to run, so hopefully it'll be more than a 3-second fight. Each action that you perform, it takes some of your action points, and when you move, it takes some of your move points. And then there's also Wakfu points, which those don't regenerate during the fight. You're stuck with a limited number of those, while the other ones regenerate each turn. And you can do things like manipulate how much action and move points your opponent gets. You can also get gear and other things that will increase how much of those you have, and things like that. As you can see, the tofus are running away from me, and they've cut it off so that only one doll can get there. And now what I can show you is I have this nifty ability where I turn into a tree, and I am immune to damage for a turn. Both of my tofus now get extra, or both of my dolls rather, get extra move speed and can attack twice, and they will make quick work of these 2 birds. Alright, so I hope you guys have found this interesting, and there will definitely be more to come unless I get a lot of comments telling me that this is stupid, etc. If you're interested in trying out Wakfu, in North America the game is currently in closed beta. In Europe it is in open beta. If you sign up for closed beta, you're not likely to get in, though. I don't think they're currently accepting people, and if you want to play the European one, you either need to live in Europe or you need someone in Europe to make you an account. It's a little bit involved. You could also, of course, use a proxy or whatever, but I am not advocating that. Obviously, that would be in poor taste to tell you how to get around systems like that. So I hope everybody enjoyed the video and is looking forward to the game. And if you have any questions about it or whatever, feel free to tell me, and or leave a comment, and make sure you follow us on Twitter, and the link will be below. So I hope everybody had a good time, and goodbye.